He is absolutely awesome. Now you guys can say it's official. You have seen Bigfoot. If you weren't a Bigfoot believer before, now you can be.
So we just got off the live. It's Saturday, doing the TikTok live, and we just got 5 orders in for today. So that is the last event that we went to. This TikTok live covered what we made. Actually, I think we did better than we did at the last event. So it very well may be that we just don't go to that event again after this one coming up. So we'll see how it goes. But all in all, this was a great live, and I think this is the most product we've sold in one day so far outside of going to an event.
We've had some questions about going live and how I do that. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit, as well as some tips and tricks that might help you. So maybe you'll find something useful in here. So going live has really helped grow our business quickly. And one of the reasons I think that is because people get to know not only Print Play Creations, but they get to know that we are humans, we are people. They get to know us as individuals. They jump on our lives. They get to know my quirky personality. They get to know, hey, she's a weird one, right? And I think that's something that it's not just doing business online, but it puts not only a name or a face with the name, but it puts a personality and it puts a person behind the business. And that helps a lot of times. And it puts people at ease in an online world to let them know, hey, we are a real business. We are humans just like you. We're not like some huge corporation, right? We are just like you. Another thing I will say is going into these lives, getting started, it is going to suck. It's not going to be fun, especially if you've never done a live or you've never been in front of the camera before. The first lives, they're normally not that great. But be aware of the platforms that you're doing these lives on, because if you're doing it on like Whatnot, for example, people can go back and watch those lives. So if you're doing them on TikTok, people can't go back and watch those lives. They can only catch them as they're happening, right? But be aware of how the platform works that you're putting these lives on, because if you have a live where you just freak out and you're like, oh no, and it's the worst thing ever, you think, of course, obviously you're going to think that it's a lot worse than it is. You can have something in your hands so that it gives you something to focus on, something to talk about, and something else that people don't think about is you can have music going in the background on these lives. So it kind of helps put your mind at ease. You can kind of have something going in the background. So if there is a little bit of dead time, you kind of lose track and like, oh no, what am I doing? You kind of have this little freak out moment. You've got music going in the background, so it's not as bad. Having something in your hands is another thing. It gives you something that you can kind of talk about. So I can talk, hey, this is, Betsy the Bat Sea Star. She's super cool. And just having her in my hands is something that I'm like, oh yeah, gives me different talking points, right? So that's something that obviously if you're doing lives, you might need to think about having something in your hands. It's a big help. Another tip is put someone on the other side of your phone. This might sound crazy, but put your phone up, start recording yourself talking to that person. This is going to make you more comfortable because it's going to make you feel like you have an audience. You know who you were speaking to. But when you do this, chances are you're going to be looking at that person who is behind the phone, right? So you're going to be looking up here. So as you do this exercise and you're becoming more comfortable talking in front of the phone, you need to also become aware of eye placement and where you're looking on the phone. So doing this exercise kind of just gets you more comfortable speaking in front of the camera because you feel like you have an audience, because you actually do have an audience. When you become more comfortable with this, then you remove the person. But the goal of this is to just become more comfortable speaking in front of the camera. One thing I will say is going live is just do it. Nike has made millions and millions on that slogan, but it is so true. Just do it, because you're never going to grow over that fear. You're never going to jump over that hurdle unless you just actually do it, right? A lot of people talk a big game, but they sit on the sidelines and they don't do it. And this is something, going live is something that has really helped push our business growth. It's helped fuel our success. We've grown very quickly for the amount of time that we've been in it. And I think that not only showing the products on live and people being able to see it, that of course, obviously that is a lot of it and that helps. But it's also the fact that they get to know me as a person. They get to know that I'm weird and I have this weird personality. I get to interact with people on the comments. So I think that going live is something that it has really helped grow our business a lot quicker than if we didn't do that. Yes, we do online, or we do in-person events as well, but going live and doing online things, it has really helped fuel that success at a faster rate, I think. And as you start out with lives, you might only have 2 people, 3 people, 5 people. Like I said, it helps if you have a friend on that platform that can just hop in there, even if they're in the other room or in the same room as you, just on a different device as a different user. Pop in on your live, interact with you. That way, if you do get stumped or you get to a point where you're like, oh no, kind of freaking out, don't want to do this, what do I do next? They can kind of prompt you in the comments, and that gives you something to speak about, and they can kind of help you along. So that's a tip. And in the beginning, your numbers are going to be low, and that's okay. These platforms and doing these lives, it takes time to grow your audience. So don't worry if you do a live and you only have 3 people on or 5 people on. Okay, so what? You get the experience of doing that live. You get the communication with people. You get that connectivity that you didn't have before. So even though you might think that was a really bad live, that sucked, I only had 5 people on there, you know? But guess what? You got out there, you did the live, you did connect with those 5 people, and they saw you, and you might have jumped over a personal hurdle just by doing that live. So in the beginning, don't worry, those numbers will be low, but as you go and as you do it with time and you progress and you do these things more and more, those numbers will grow. A tip for getting in front of the camera, if it's something that you're not used to, you're probably going to be uncomfortable with it. So one tip, it's kind of a way to trick your brain, right? So what I would suggest is go into somewhere with a mirror, maybe a bathroom or something like that. Put your phone up in front of you and turn your camera on, turn your video on, start recording yourself talking. Try to talk about something for a minute. Try to talk about something for 2 minutes. Set yourself up for success. Go somewhere where you're comfortable. Go into an environment where you are already at ease, because that's going to translate. That's going to come across in these videos. If you're uncomfortable, of course that's going to come across in these videos. But with time and doing these lives and things, you're just going to become more comfortable. It's something that it just happens with time, doing these things over and over, and the repetition. It just makes you a lot more at ease when you do these things.
Hopefully the information about TikTok was helpful. I know a lot of people have been asking in the comments about how we go live on TikTok, you know, what all we do, all the good stuff. So hopefully that was somewhat helpful. And if there's other questions you have about going live on TikTok, feel free to ask in the comments. We're just, you know, we're still learning, but we've been doing it for about, I guess, maybe 2-3 months now on TikTok, and seeing some pretty good success.
All right, so car is packed. We are headed out. Luckily, it is not a cold and rainy morning this morning, so hopefully that'll help with the turnout some at this event. But
Sunshine.
This will be the 3rd time we are doing this event, so hopefully it goes well. We will give you guys an update shortly.
See you. What are you doing?
Did I embarrass you? So as we were getting set up here this morning, we did give ourselves some time, some cushion there. So we had plenty of time to get set up, which was a great thing, because as we were setting up, before the doors even opened to the public, we made $100 in sales. So just goes to show, don't be late. But no, everything's going great, and we will check back in with you guys shortly. I figured I would step outside and do a little update for you guys. So today has been going great. We've got about 4 hours remaining in the event, and we have already broken what we have in the past 2 times that we have been at this event. So we're back from the event, and it went well. So I did step out and give you guys an update. May have jinxed myself a little bit. So I said that we surpassed our numbers for the month prior, which was true, and we did. But after that, the foot traffic died down, so we didn't make too much more. And although there was more foot traffic than in the months prior, there still wasn't as much foot traffic as what I was expecting to see. So Ryan and I have considered, maybe not going back to that event, but it's not just numbers, because we also network and we do make a lot of connections at these events. So things to consider. I don't know. A lot to talk about and a lot to think about.
And I also wanted to point out another milestone in the business. We hit $400 in a day for the second time. The first time was after an event at Christmas. I think our Christmas event pulled in 800 by the time we left the event. And then by the time we got home, because we had somebody at the event reach out to us on the way home, it was probably in the 1,200 range. Again, I'll pull numbers in a later video. And then the whole month of December was 1,500. For the event itself, last weekend, we pulled in roughly a little over $300 in revenue. And we got home, Amanda jumped on a TikTok live, and she ended up selling, I think it was around $150. So that pulled in, I think it was like $450 that we made for that Saturday after the event. So we're getting to the point where Saturdays are pretty big days for us as far as the TikTok lives. We tend to sell pretty well on Saturdays. And then, of course, the event. So if we have an event, Amanda's kind of stacked because we do the event. We're there depending on what the event is all day, and then come home and do the TikTok live. Of course, that's only once a month right now. And then next month, I believe, actually we have another event in a week and a half, and then which will be like close to the end of March. And then we have 2 events back to back pretty much in April. So looking forward to that. A lot of growth coming, a lot of growth happening quickly. And so that's super exciting. So hopefully that was helpful. And like I said, I'll be putting a video out later, kind of breaking down our expenses, revenue, profit, all that good stuff. So yeah, if you liked the video, make sure to give us a thumbs up. It helps us on YouTube. And if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, because we try to do a video every week or two. Just within the business. The business is starting to grow quickly and ramp up. So we're probably looking to start pushing a video out every week to help the YouTube algorithm.